Kristen Chenoweth and Stephen Schwartz are reuniting on Broadway. No, not for Wicked. No, not for Good. For The Queen of Versailles. Let's talk about it. Hi friends, my name is Catherine Quinn. I'm a 30-something living in New York City, working on Broadway. I run a company called And That's Showbiz. We have an agency where we represent shows like The Great Gatsby on Broadway, Maybe Happy Ending on Broadway, The Notebook on tour, and then we have a media side where we have a bunch of shows on And That's Showbiz, so make sure you check it out. But today, we are talking about The Queen of Versailles. I'm so curious about this show, so we're going to break down what it is that you need to know. This is the first Stephen Schwartz musical to hit Broadway in years. New musical, obviously. Wicked has been running for 20 plus years. It is Kristen Chenoweth's biggest dramatic role to date, and it's opening November 10th at the St. James Theater, beginning previews October 8th. So, obviously, we all know this at this point, but in case you've been living under a rock, Kristen Chenoweth originated the role of Linda in Wicked 22 years ago in 2003, and Stephen Schwartz wrote Wicked, and this is a reunion of these two musical theater superstars. Lindsay Ferrantina wrote the book, Michael Arden of Maybe Happy Ending and the Once on This Island revival and Parade revival is our director. This is Schwartz's first Broadway musical since Wicked, which is crazy. First new Broadway musical since Wicked. Okay, so we had an out-of-town tryout for this show, and here's what you need to know. It ran at the Emerson Colonial Theater in Boston through August 25th, 2024, and out-of-town tryouts are super common practice. It received mixed reviews, but in Michael Arden we trust. I'm really curious to see. I know, here are the things that I heard that were positive. I heard that the set is phenomenal, which is fabulous. It is Dane Laffrey, who won a Tony for the Maybe Happy set. Incredible set designer. If you don't know, Queen of Versailles is based on a true story. So it is a woman in Florida who wanted to build a Versailles-like mansion and began to, and then ran out of money. And it fell into a bit of a state of disrepair. And there was a big famous documentary called Queen of Versailles, and then there have been sort of follow-ups to it. And now it's a musical. It makes sense that the house in the show would look absolutely phenomenal. I also hear this is Chenoweth as we have never seen her before. Really curious and excited to see her in a big dramatic role. Other members of the cast include F. Murray Abraham, I'm going to butcher this name, Melody Boutiu as Stephen DeRosa, Greg Hildreth, Tatum Grace Hopkins, Isabel Keating, and Nina White. Okay, so I mentioned that the reviews were mixed. Here's some little sound bites. Kristen Chenoweth's performance, universally praised. The New York Times called it fiercely intelligent, emotionally nuanced, and deep. Her dramatic range was on full display, not just comedic. Schwartz's score. Variety said it was the most emotionally affecting score of his career. Act 1, generally, folks said worked well. It was entertaining, the right tone, amazing production design, but that Act 2 had tonal problems, and it wasn't totally sure what it wanted to be. New York Times said the tone flails, even descending briefly into sentimentality. Boston Globe said you need to dig deeper into characters and tighten up the running time. And some folks felt it was too superficial for the serious subject matter and missing the sense of vulgar luxury that it needs. Again, we have one of the best directors currently working on Broadway on this show, and a lot can happen between an out-of-town and the Broadway run. Famously, people were like, The Outsiders did not work, and obviously won Best Musical and is a huge smash hit. I thought, Suffs took a giant leap between off-Broadway and Broadway. It is very common for shows to kind of they can undergo quite a transformation before Broadway and then once they're on Broadway. And so I'm very excited to see it. Okay, so just as a quick recap, the when and the where. This begins previews October 8th at the St. James Theater and opens on November 10th, 2025. I'm so curious to hear, are you planning on seeing this show? Are you excited about Queen of Versailles? Did you see it during its out-of-town run? Do you think it's going to be a huge smash hit? Is it going to get Kristen a beautiful big Tony Award? She won for Sally Brown in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Please leave what you think the fate of Queen of Versailles is and how excited you are to see it in the comments. I will definitely be checking this out. I'll check back in once I have seen it. As you know, I'm always rooting for everything to succeed, and this is included in that. I make an effort to read every single comment, so I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me if you found this video helpful, and it helps push this video out to other wonderful humans just like you who might find value from it. So thanks for taking the time to do that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.